Discover the touching truth. My son's surprising gift revealed a hidden $900,000 debt. Ben could hardly breathe as he stared at the yellowed letters strewn before him. Each crumbling page unraveled a truth that clutched at his throat like a vice. The staggering burden of a $900,000 debt traced back to his father's business failure. This wasn't just some distant family secret. It was a reality that threatened to suffocate the aspirations he held for himself and his son Jake. Every principle he held dear, integrity, perseverance, the honor of his family legacy, clashed with the overwhelming anxiety that twisted his gut. Was he to inherit the shame that came with this unrelenting weight? The memories flooded back. His father's tales from the war, his unwavering resolve to provide for the family, to embody the very ideals of hard work and honesty. What did it all mean now? Was this the legacy he was set to pass on, or was he destined to carve his own path away from such shadows? The garage he had built brick by brick felt suddenly fragile, a house of cards at the mercy of a whispering wind. How could he face Jake, who needed a father to look up to? Jake was downstairs tinkering with his projects, a young boy bursting with inventive spirit, unaware of the storm brewing above. Ben hesitated, biting back a wave of uncertainty. Would Jake's dreams, his encouragement to explore and innovate, be utterly dashed by debts he hadn't asked for? Panic surged like a rising tide, a nagging fear gnawing at his mind. What if this debt stripped them of everything they had worked for? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the quiet of the evening, Ben's thoughts spiraled, alarming, crippling, an echo chamber of guilt and fear. What if he confronted the past? Could he look Jake in the eye and still claim they deserved better? Was he ready to uproot the integrity his father had instilled in him? Seeing Jake embrace his science projects, the boy's heart racing with ideas, sparked a glimmer of hope. There was something about watching his son create, pouring every ounce of himself into bright, gleaming devices that sparked light in the stagnant air of defeat. But just as their tide turned, Ben's old rival, the ghost of failed partnerships and bitter betrayals, loomed close. Rex, with his cold gaze and cutthroat ambition, now threatened to snuff out the flicker of hope ignited by Jake's innovations. Could he lose Jake's dreams, along with their fragile peace? The fire from their past had raged long enough. Rex's shadow threatened to extinguish the budding flame just as it began to burn. Ben stood at the threshold of despair and determination, realizing the stakes were never just about the debt itself. It was about confronting the specters of his legacy and choosing whether to fight for the future he envisioned for Jake. As he wrestled with that decision, the quiet home crackled with tension, leaving room for nothing but uncertainty. What if this overwhelming secret unraveled everything? The fear twisting in Ben's stomach tightened as he realized the path he must choose was laden with potential ruin, or perhaps a chance to rebuild their legacy. The morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow on the remainder of Ben's scattered aftermath. The once familiar warmth at home now felt foreign, overshadowed by the heavy burden he had just uncovered. He needed to act. No more retreating into the shadow of despair. Each day he delayed was another day Rex could encroach on their peace, his fingers itching to exploit Ben's newfound vulnerability. With determination stealing across his nerves, Ben took a deep breath. He had made up his mind. Face the debt or see everything shattered. This wouldn't just be about him. It was about Jake and the future he wanted for them both. The thought of Rex's dismissive smile haunted him. What would he say if he uncovered this family secret? An idea began to form, a way to confront the past while still making it a lesson for the future, a confrontation of necessity. He would seek out information before the debt suffocated him entirely. Searching through the old letters from his father, he focused on what had gone wrong in his father's business. Often, failure births hidden insights, the kind Ben could utilize to reshape a narrative that had become so tangled. He gathered his resolve and made a call, the kind that could lead him down more than just a precarious road of financial advisement. This was about learning the ropes of his father's failure, understanding the missteps that had led to such an enormous weight. As he waited on the line, anxiety twisted within him. The moment stretched, each tick of the clock ringing like a countdown to confrontation. What if he learned something worse? What if this journey only dug deeper holes into his psyche? The voice on the other end was calm, yet charged. A financial consultant who specialized in the intricate webs of personal debt. They spoke of strategies, of diving into documents and analyzing financial reports that dated back years. As Ben scribbled notes, the logical part of him fought against the chaotic emotions swirling in his heart. Who did he think he was? Could he really make sense of a mess like this? When the call ended, Ben stared at the notes scattered across his kitchen table. The prospect of digging deep into the debt felt both terrifying and exhilarating, like embarking on an expedition into an uncharted wilderness, rife with danger, yet offering the distinct possibility of discovery. He caught a glimpse of Jake working busily on yet another project on the kitchen floor, surrounded by bits of discarded gadgets, spilling creativity with every intricate turn. What would happen if he failed? The vulnerability clutched at his heart. But revisiting the past was the only path to laying a solid foundation for Jake's future. He heard a small shout from down the hall, followed by laughter. Excitement surged within him. What if he found a way to use this present crisis to teach Jake about resilience and integrity, about facing fears directly instead of running from them? Rising from the table, Ben made his way to his son, taking a moment with him underneath a canvas of paint splotches and scattered components. "Hey buddy, how's it going?" he asked, a warmth filling his voice as he kneeled to meet Jake at his level. "Look, Dad, I think I've almost got it," Jake grinned, showcasing another odd creation, radiating joy. Ben smiled, breathing in the brightness of that moment, but the thoughts tugged at him from the recesses of his mind. At what cost would this joy come to him? The reverberation of Rex's sneering laugh echoed in his ears. He couldn't afford to let fear corrode what they were building, nor could he ignore the debt demanding accountability. With resolve anchoring his spirit, Ben made a pivotal decision. It was time to confront the past head-on and devise a plan of action that not only addressed the present crisis, but also laid the groundwork for their brighter future. As the day waned, he felt energized, a newfound purpose guiding his thoughts. He would gather information, make the calls, and confront the facets of legacy. The time to dismantle this dark cloud looming over their lives was now. But deep down, he questioned, what truths might he unearth that would shatter the very foundations upon which he hoped to build? The thought hung in the air, heavy and potent, as the evening shadows lengthened across their home, foreshadowing the struggle ahead. The soft hum of the refrigerator filled the kitchen as Ben sat before the scattered papers, their edges curling like his thoughts. The financial consultant's advice echoed in his mind. He needed to organize his approach, breaking down the debt into manageable parts, rather than allowing it to loom like a darkened sky. This raw urgency pressed against his chest. He could no longer be a passive observer in his own life. First things first, a complete audit of every expense and income. With determination solidifying, he gathered receipts and old bank statements, his pencils poised to sketch out a clearer picture of his finances. The task felt monumental, yet with each line item documented, it felt like he was severing the ivy choking his father's legacy. As he worked, brief flashes of How his father had conducted business, extravagant decisions, and reckless financial moves flickered through his mind like distant explosions. Why didn't he confide in me? Ben questioned internally. With each utility bill and grocery receipt meticulously cataloged, the resentment began to surface, piggybacking onto feelings of betrayal and confusion. He stumbled upon a particularly old document hidden among the newer bills, an unsent letter from his father to Rex. The words dripped with desperation, a plea for partnership veiled under a guise of business opportunity. Rex had always demanded respect, wielding threats like weapons. The realization hit Ben squarely in the gut. His father had sought validation by aligning himself with a sinking ship. Suddenly, he understood. A sickly realization of dependency painted his father's predicaments as not merely errors, but blind trust woven into ambition. Setting the letter aside, Ben sought solace in a deep breath. He needed to redirect this anger and disappointment, turning it into fuel for reconciliation with the past. Later that evening, he shared a simple dinner with Jake, but his mind was elsewhere, always calculating, sifting through possibilities. It felt like he was boarding a ship headed toward the same fog his father had navigated. Beneath the table, Jake kicked playfully at his leg, waking Ben from his reverie. "What's on your mind, Dad?" Jake asked, concern replacing the mirth in his young eyes. Ben paused, considering how to encapsulate the emotional tide sweeping him away. "Just thinking about being smarter with money," he finally said, hoping to pivot the heavy conversation towards something actionable. "Like how?" Jake queried, a genuine curiosity sparking clear in his gaze. With the weight of familial failings swirling through him, Ben brightened at the chance to impart wisdom. "Well, what if we create a budget together? We'll track what comes in and what goes out. It'll show us how to be responsible." Jake's enthusiasm surged, immediately grabbing his colored pencils to start drawing a financial chart. In that moment, Ben felt a flicker of optimism. Teaching his son about resilience and responsibility became a shared mission rather than just another mental burden. Days turned into weeks as they created a colorful budget poster plastered across the refrigerator. Each dollar spent or saved became a lesson woven into Jake's development, and Ben marveled at how genuinely driven his son was to grasp these concepts. Their tight bond flourished amid the chaos, illuminating paths once obscured by despair. Meanwhile, Ben delved deeper into Rex's dealings, scheming about how to confront his past collaborator. He strolled the avenues of careful planning, fueled by clarity and righteousness, slowly embodying his father's struggles as lessons, not simply chains. Each detail pulled into focus. How had Rex exploited his father's weaknesses? Each discovery crackled with tension and anticipation, revealing names, figures, and actions that would eventually lead to confrontation. Ben stood at a profound intersection of vulnerability and strength. His father's failures were tracing shadows across his path, yet he felt a burgeoning resolve, a spirit unwilling to repeat. History. But thoughts of Rex loomed ominously. A finality hung in the air around the plan he was constructing. Would he ultimately expose his challenges and take charge? Or would he remain ensnared by the remnants of fear? As he schemed and reflected, that lingering question coiled tightly within him. When the confrontation finally arrived, would Rex see him as the ignoble successor of his father, or a man ready to reclaim his legacy? That uncertainty burrowed beneath his skin, a looming storm on the horizon as Ben prepared for the inevitable clash, knowing a final revelation awaited him. Ben spent countless hours submerged in his burgeoning plan, the process becoming an obsession rather than a mere task. Each receipt documented was a step not only toward understanding his family's status, but also into reclaiming his own narrative. The cluttered kitchen transformed into a battleground for Ben, where triumph over chaos lay within each organized folder. The satisfaction of order began replacing the discomfort of fear, slowly constructing a fortress of resilience within him. His nights turned restless. Thoughts of Rex occupied his mind. The looming shadow of his father's past decisions pressed down, Yet Ben couldn't afford to let it stifle him. He recalled the stories Jake had shared about school, learning from mistakes made in games. He had observed how failures bred innovation. If Rex had aimed to use Ben's father as a pawn, then Ben could turn the tables. He would not just confront Rex, he would outsmart him. Motivated by an undercurrent of wisdom previously hidden, he dug further into the archives of his father's dealings, gathering documents like a modern-day sleuth. It was in one of those tattered folders that Ben uncovered a record of unusually high expenses related to consulting fees, a vast network tied to Rex. Every invoice painted a picture of manipulation, a design to suck his father's resources dry. With mounting determination, Ben recognized the need to consolidate this information into a compelling narrative, one that could shift power from Rex back to him. The realization sparked a clarity. All along, he had been a silent bystander, yet now he was on the cusp of becoming the narrative of his own story. In a moment of quiet reflection, Ben took a long look at his chart on the refrigerator, where numbers painted lessons for Jake. As Joe's enthusiasm permeated the air, it reminded him that personal growth doesn't just come from failure. It springs from diligence and the willingness to break patterns. Each color of that budget was a testament to a choice made, a choice to strive for betterment. Yet the spotlight stretched toward the confrontation ahead. Ben envisioned facing Rex, laying out his evidence with the precision of an architect, unveiling a long overdue blueprint. Proving Rex's exploitation could represent more than just a moral victory. It could affirm Ben's decision to break free from his father's legacy. One evening, while piecing together his final notes, the doorbell rang. Surprised, he opened the door to find Jake standing there, his usual impulse to share news tempered by the weight of an unspoken concern. "Dad, can we talk?" Jake's earnest expression gnawed at Ben's inner peace. Of course they could talk. They needed to. As they settled on the couch, Ben's focus shifted. He had noticed Jake's curiosity about finances often turned to probing questions about their family's history. What he didn't realize was that his own revelations had inadvertently sparked an inquiry deeper than he had anticipated. Jake wanted insights into responsibilities that transcended numbers, decisions about trust, belief, and, as it seemed, betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me more about Grandpa?" Jake's eyes narrowed slightly, hinting at something pressing beneath. The question sliced through Ben, igniting fresh doubt. Indeed, how much should he share about the past? Would it help Jake navigate his own decisions, or would it only burden him with shadows of regret? As he struggled with dialogue, Ben felt an epiphany reignite within him. He couldn't continue to hide behind the walls built by his father. This was a pivotal moment to redefine openness with Jake. "Yes, we should really talk about him," Ben finally said, deciding that honesty must accompany lessons about accountability and legacy. What Ben didn't yet know was that this discussion would lead to unexpected discoveries about himself as a father, his vulnerabilities unburdened, laying the groundwork for redemption. Their conversation, now unspooling, would push Ben closer to an emotional reckoning with his past, leading to stronger choices in confronting Rex. Each moment brought forth a waiting ripple of anticipation. The real confrontation was not solely with Rex. It lay right within the heart of his family. As each layer was peeled away, so too were the fears that obscured his path. Would Ben ultimately find the courage to emerge as the distinct figure he wished to be, or would familial loyalty once again shadow his judgment? As discussions faded into the evening shadows, uncertainty cloaked him like fog, casting a fragile veil over the choices waiting to be made. The weight of their conversation lingered heavily in the room, the air thick with unspoken truths and Ben's newfound resolve. Jake sat across from him, eyes eager yet apprehensive, seeking reassurance and answers. Ben realized that the stories he shared about his father could forge a new path for both of them, a path illuminated by transparency. "Your grandpa wasn't always the man you might think," Ben began, steeling himself to peel back layers of complexity. He found himself in situations where the choices he made weren't just about him. They affected our family in ways we're still grappling with. Jake's brows knitted as he absorbed the revelations. "What do you mean, Dad?" Did he make bad decisions? Yes, but it was more than that, Ben replied, wary of overriding his father's narrative with his own regrets. He got involved with people like Rex, thinking he was making smart choices. They weren't just business deals, they were traps designed to exploit trust. As Ben spoke, the emotional minefield of his father's legacy began to untangle itself. The ideas he had wrestled with in solitude were finding voice. The realization that Jake was listening intently, eager yet hesitant, activated an alarm within him. This wasn't merely a confession, it was a moment of truth that could shape Jake's understanding of their family's financial landscape. "What happened to Grandpa?" Jake asked, the innocence in his voice stark against the heavy conversation. Ben inhaled deeply, the air stalling in his chest. "He lost everything, Jake. His choices led him to a place where he had to reckon with his past. I want you to learn from that." A delicate silence enveloped them, each word marking territory they were now navigating together. The gravity of the exchange reshaped their dynamic, transforming Ben from a father cloaked in shame to a mentor trying to guide his son through a treacherous legacy. Jake leaned forward, a flicker of understanding igniting in his eyes. "You're not just talking about him, are you? You're talking about yourself, too." Ben felt exposed, stripped of the armor he had worn for so long. "Yes, I've made my fair share of mistakes. I'm only just beginning to deal with the consequences." The emotional chasm between them began to close, but Ben knew they were teetering on a precipice of greater truths. Each admission felt like an arrow aiming at Rex's machinations, but deeper layers remained buried, a hidden debt, an impending confrontation. "Are we as bad off as him?" Jake's question cut deeper than Ben anticipated. No. The answer teetered on a precise balance of reassurance and reality. But it's important we remain vigilant. What fundamentally matters is how we move forward from here. In that moment, clarity surged within Ben. He realized he couldn't dwell in past choices alone. He had to design a future rooted in accountability and foresight. This newfound connection with Jake ignited an intrinsic drive. They weren't just navigating the remnants of a shattered past, they were crafting a new legacy, one built on honesty. As the evening progressed, plans began to form in Ben's mind. Perhaps it wasn't just a matter of confronting Rex anymore. It was about strengthening the bond with his son by actively involving him in the resolution of their past. After all, if Jake carried the weight of Ben's knowledge, perhaps he could share in shaping the outcome. But as they wrapped up their conversation, a thought surged through Ben's mind. What if Jake, despite his youth, needed to be armed with more information for the impending confrontation? The question gnawed at him like a persistent itch. Would exposing Jake to the entire truth risk their newfound bond or fortify it? The stakes were higher than ever, and the seeds of doubt began to sprout once more. Would he have the strength to confront Rex together with Jake, or would the complexity of family loyalties unravel the very fabric they were trying to build? To strengthen? As the light dimmed in the room and shadows danced on the walls, uncertainty loomed ever closer. The time had come to decide how they would move against Rex, and in that pivotal choice, Ben felt anticipation tingle down his spine. Would transparency lead to empowerment, or would revealing too much open doors better left closed? The following days passed in a blur for Ben, each moment steeped in the gravity of their conversation. He found himself mulling over the implications of his words, analyzing the essence of what they had shared. The more he contemplated, the more he realized how far the responsibility of transparency could stretch. Guilt and determination intermingled within him as he sought ways to blend his professional acumen with the lessons embedded in their familial history. For too long, he had been passive, allowing the weight of Rex and the debts of the past to dictate his actions. Now a new day beckoned, one that could redefine not just Ben's future, but Jake's as well. Their initial discussion had opened a window, but it felt far from complete. Ben sensed an urgency to prepare Jake for the challenges ahead. They would not merely confront Rex, they would also dive headfirst into the family's precarious financial history, trying to unearth buried truths and clarify misalignments. What seemed like an exploration of their legacy could very well turn into an awakening, both for Ben and Jake. One dreary afternoon, Ben took a step toward crafting a roadmap for that journey. He assembled documents from years past, summarizing transactions that had seemingly been lost in the shadows of family narrative. He sifted through aging papers, the weight of faded ink on crisp yellowed pages serving as reminders of consequences long avoided. It struck him, not just a trail of debt, but a lineage tainted by missteps. As Ben organized the files, a realization washed over him. This wasn't simply about confronting Rex. It was about discovering the patterns that had led them to their current reality. More importantly, it was an invitation for Jake to step into the role of a proactive architect over his future. That evening, Ben shared his findings with Jake. They sat at the kitchen table, littered with documents that revealed the layered complexities of his father's choices. "These papers represent more than just numbers, Jake," Ben said, placing a hand on the top sheet. "They tell a story of caution and consequence, ones I want you to learn from." Jake stared intently at the array, brows knitted in concentration. Did Grandpa really get into this mess on his own, or did others push him? That question cut deep, forcing Ben to confront the unsettling truth of shared responsibility. "There are always factors outside our control," he admitted, "but it's easy to unwittingly become complicit, especially when we think we are making the right choices." The emotional weight was palpable, echoing their earlier discussions, but layered with the intensity of newfound commitment. Jake's youthful insights forced Ben to reclaim his narrative as someone who could also steer their legacy toward empowerment. "Do you think transparency will change how people see us as a family?" Jake probed further. "Maybe, but that isn't the goal," Ben replied, weighing his words carefully. "What matters is how you see yourself and our choices. Honesty makes you more resilient. It equips you to face future challenges." The realization was a breakthrough moment, one where Ben understood that if he armed Jake with knowledge, he wouldn't just be preserving the past, but also solidifying a mutual foundation for their futures. However, as the days turned into weeks, Ben found himself grappling with an ever-increasing dread over the impending confrontation with Rex. Whispers of their unresolved debt taunted him, a relentless reminder of the specter they were preparing to face. Could he truly wield the power of transparency while defending his family from Rex's unpredictability? Ben's nights filled with restless thoughts, strategies materializing, and questions swirling. What would Jake's role look like when faced with an adversary who thrived in manipulation? How would that reality reshape their relationship? In the quiet of the impending dawn, Ben's resolve solidified. He decided it was time to meet Rex on his own turf, harnessing the resolve built on the back of their shared revelations. Yet, dread gnawed at him. Would all this preparation pay off, or would it explode into chaos, ripping apart the very essence of the bond he was attempting to rebuild with Jake? The moment had come closer. As Ben gathered the final documents, a sliver of fear whispered through his thoughts. Was he leading them into a battle they were unprepared for? Would honesty be his weapon, or would it become their undoing? Two paths lay before him, and he had yet to determine which one they would tread, the path of empowerment or the one toward confrontation. The choice loomed, and as the sun began to rise, illuminating the gaps in their past, Ben felt the weight of the moment hang heavily above him. Would courage guide him through, or would doubt cloud their shared destiny? The following morning unfolded under a gray blanket of clouds, mirroring Ben's internal chaos. He stood in front of the mirror, examining himself, the anxiety heavy on his shoulders. Today marked not just a confrontation with Rex, but a confrontation with his own fears, uncertainties he had allowed to fester during years of passivity. Armed with the meticulously organized documents, Ben's hands trembled slightly. Each paper represented a different facet of their family's past, a blend of mistakes and potential wisdom. He had told Jake that honesty would fortify their resolve, yet in these moments of stillness, doubt crept in. What if this path to transparency became more barbed than he intended? Was he truly ready to face Rex, knowing the man thrives on manipulation and lies? As he stepped into the kitchen, the smell of brewing coffee permeated the air, a small comfort amidst the tension. Jake sat at the table, the pages laid out before him like a makeshift battleground. His son looked up, his youthful face reflecting both curiosity and trepidation. "Are you ready, Dad?" Jake's question hung heavily, laden with expectation. Ben took a seat across from him, the gravity of the question resonating deep within. "I've never been more ready or more afraid," he confessed, each word a testament to the shift within him. "Oh." Jake's brow furrowed, and he pushed the documents aside, revealing the conflicting emotions he felt. "You think Rex will actually listen?" "In a way, we're not just confronting him, we're confronting every choice that led us here. And yes, Jake, I believe he'll listen." But doubt lingered. Would Rex truly even care about their truths? Or would he twist them to maintain control, reducing Ben's attempts at empowerment to ashes? Their conversation drifted into strategic plans as Jake proposed various scenarios for their upcoming meeting. With each idea, Ben watched his son step more into his own agency, more confident in his thoughts. A flurry of resilience sparked within Ben. His blueprint for the future was taking shape right in front of him. Yet the fleeting moments of hope were constantly punctured by the haunting reminders that rested beyond the edge of their awareness. The financial web Rex had spun encompassed both history and the present. The discussion transformed, shifting Ben from passive participant to engaged partner. But the heart of the matter remained chillingly unchanged. Confrontation remained inevitable. Jake broke the silence, a thoughtful look crossing his face. "Dad, what if he calls us liars? What if he threatens us?" The fear in Jake's voice mirrored Ben's unease, and yet he understood this moment hinged on their collective courage. "Then we lean into our truth, son," Ben replied firmly, forging his resolve in the reflective gaze that passed between them. "We face his threats with honesty." When they concluded their morning meeting, an unexpected strength filled Ben. Jake was not just a willing participant, he was becoming an integral part of the narrative. The fears that once paralyzed Ben transformed into anticipation, the kind that came from standing alongside someone who shared the burden of familial legacy. As they prepared to leave, the dark clouds outside seemed to part slightly, allowing a weak beam of sunlight to illuminate the kitchen. It felt like a sign, an indication that perhaps change lay ahead. But as they approached the front door, the ominous reminder of Rex loomed larger, a specter that demanded confrontation. Could Ben truly navigate this treacherous terrain while keeping Jake's spirit intact? With the door firmly shut behind him, an unsettling thought gnawed at Ben. What if confronting Rex wasn't the end of their troubles, but merely the beginning? Would transparency serve as their shield or their downfall? The day stretched before them like an uncharted map, and as they drove toward Rex, Ben knew one thing: the confrontation was inevitable, and now their shared truth would be tested in ways they could hardly imagine. As the car pulled away from the curb, Ben felt a tightening knot in his stomach. The familiar route to Rex's office felt different today. Each turn, every red light, was charged with his apprehension. Sunlight filtered through the clouds, illuminating the road ahead, yet shadows of doubt flickered at the edges of Ben's mind. Jake's voice jolted him from his thoughts. "Dad, what if he doesn't acknowledge our efforts? You know how he can be." The worry in his son's voice cut through the lingering anxiety, echoing the doubts that had latched onto Ben. Ben tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "We have to remain focused on our truth, no matter what tactics he employs. will use his own history against him if it comes to that. Deep down, he grappled with the realization that confronting Rex was not merely about the exchange of words. It was about shedding the layers of passivity he had worn for years. Each decision made in Rex's shadow had been a choice against agency, a withdrawal into the safety of silence. Today, however, he intended to reclaim that agency, not just for himself, but for Jake as well. As they arrived, Ben's heart raced. The building loomed ahead, intimidating and sterile, a fortress of business and deceit. They parked, and a heavy silence enveloped the car. Jake glanced at Ben, searching for reassurance. "Just remember what we practiced, all right? We're a team." Ben nodded, though his mind reeled. Outside, the world seemed indifferent to the tumult of emotions stirring within him. He stepped out, the cool air a stark contrast to his internal heat. Together, they walked toward the entrance, an unspoken pact binding them, their shoulders squared against the impending storm. Inside, a reception area draped in muted colors welcomed them. They stood, poised yet unsteady, waiting for Rex. The minutes dragged on as a suffocating silence filled the void. Ben cleared his throat, trying to glean a semblance of calm, remembering the strength he had found in his morning conversation with Jake. He felt an upsurge of potential within him, fueling a flicker of hope. Finally, Rex appeared, a master of control, his presence both commanding and disarming. A grin stretched across his face, but it did little to ease Ben's tension. "Well, well, if it isn't my favorite duo, what brings you here today?" The words dripped with insincerity, a calculated mask that Rex wore effortlessly. Ben's pulse quickened, the thrill of confrontation tightening around him. "Rex," he started, voice steady despite his racing thoughts, "we need to discuss the financial situation and our role in it. We've uncovered some troubling aspects of our past." Rex's eyes narrowed slightly, calculating, but he maintained a practiced facade. "I hope you're not planning to insult my integrity by suggesting..." "We're not here to dance around the truth anymore. We're here to hold you accountable." The words slipped from Ben, carrying more conviction than he anticipated. "Jake, you're going to throw your whole career away over some miscalculations?" Rex sneered, trying to regain control of the conversation. "I assure you, this is a dangerous game." "Dangerous?" Ben echoed incredulously. "I've been living in fear of you for too long. You're the one who's dangerous, Rex, and we're here to put a stop to that." The moment hung pregnant in the air as Ben awaited Rex's next move. A game of chess had begun, and Ben was ready to expose Rex's vulnerabilities. He felt a flicker of freedom, resembling the rush of fresh air after enduring years of a stifling atmosphere. An unexpected realization dawned on him. He was capable of more than he had ever imagined. "Do you truly believe your threats will intimidate me?" Ben pressed, feeling the grip of control slip from Rex. "What I've uncovered is far bigger than any fear you've instilled in me. We're determined to seek the truth, not just for ourselves, but for everyone you've ever manipulated." Rex's expression contorted, an amalgamation of disbelief and anger. With every passing moment, the depth of Ben's conviction felt like a torrent, something that can't be contained, only unleashed. Yet, beneath the bubbling tension, a nagging fear crept in. What if Rex retaliated in ways that might harm Jake or their livelihoods? Beneath the wave of newfound power was the reality of the stakes they faced. As Rex prepared his response, Ben braced for the possibility of threats, but he was finally ready to face the realities of their situation head-on, armed with his own strength and a desire to protect his family. Just then, a thought pierced through his resolve. How far would Rex go to silence them? Would the shadows Ben had feared ever catch up? As Rex opened his mouth to speak, Ben's mind raced. Was this the moment the truth would finally surface? Or was it simply the beginning of a much darker descent? As the tension hung heavily in the air, a strange clarity washed over Ben. He had come to this point not just as a man burdened by his father's legacy, but as a father willing to fight for his son's future. This was his moment of transformation, a point of no return. "Rex," he said firmly, feeling a surge of righteousness flow through him. "This isn't just about the debts anymore. This is about the trust you've shattered and the lessons I've learned from my family's mistakes. I refuse to perpetuate the cycle. I'm here to reclaim our legacy." Jake's presence beside him fortified Ben's resolve. He sensed that all those nights spent in contemplation, organizing the chaotic remnants of his family's past, had led him here. A confrontation not merely for clarity, but for justice. For too long, Rex had suffocated their dreams with accusations and intimidation. Now, it was Ben's turn to wield vulnerability as both shield and sword. Rex's expression twisted, his carefully constructed composure flaring into visible irritation. "I won't, bullied by some half-baked claims and a sentimental narrative." He straightened, his posture brimming with the authority that had once quelled Ben. "You're outclassed, and you know it." With each word spoken, Ben felt further steel himself against Rex's attempts to regain power. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a reckoning. Class doesn't define a man's deeds, Rex. Integrity does, and those led you to betrayal. He took a breath, preparing to bring the weight of the truth crashing down upon Rex. "I have the documents that detail the manipulations used to entrap my father, the ones you twisted for gain. It's time everyone sees the truth." Jake stood tall, his small frame radiating a fierce confidence mirrored from his father. "We're ready to expose everything," he added, his voice steady despite the underlying worries that danced across his brow. Rex's eyes darkened, the facade of arrogance faltering under the weight of their unified front. "You think your little papers intimidate me? I could bury you and your precious discoveries before your head even clears." In that moment, Ben realized that fear was no longer a shackle, but a catalyst. It had propelled him to this very moment, empowering him to embrace not only his burdens, but also the innate strength that conjoined him with Jake. "You can try, but the world is changing. Your manipulation won't hold water against the truth we embody." Suddenly, a flicker of doubt crossed Rex's face. Perhaps he could sense the resolve within Ben, a shift that had begun from the depths of his fears and blossomed into a force of undeniable character. Ben pressed on. "Rebuilding starts now. No more shadows, no more secrets, only transparency. This is our legacy." With a flash of intuition, Ben decided it was crucial to escalate the stakes. "We're prepared to take this issue public, and we won't do it alone." As he spoke, confidence surged through him like a wave, solidifying his control of the narrative they were crafting together. Rex's cold demeanor momentarily cracked, revealing a vulnerability along with the realization that Ben was steadfast in his intentions. Their paths had intertwined, but now the dynamic between predator and prey had shifted. A reckoning defined by honesty was at hand. Ben's heart raced, tempered by the awareness that this confrontation was not merely about debts, but pathways, choices, and their potential for reform. The specters of Rex's hold could dismantle, and in that dismantling, Ben felt an overwhelming surge of hope. Jake watched with bright eyes, a witness to the intricate dance of truth and consequence unfurling before him. "What you did was unfair, and now it ends," Ben said. "I will take back my family's legacy." In the taut silence that followed, Rex's initial surprise morphed into indignation, the pressure cooker about to explode. As he inches toward a retaliatory stance, Ben stood tall, prepared to counter every assault. His mind was a flurry of thoughts, evaluating the layers of negotiations, recognizing that this confrontation moment laid the groundwork for their lives going forward. The duel unfolded, back and forth flows of accusation and revelation, threats met with retorts. Yet throughout the volley, a critical understanding blossomed. Ben had not come just to win a debate. He was on a mission to redefine his family story altogether. By the time Rex's stern expression calculated one more attempt to regain the upper hand, Ben felt poised to deliver the final blow, a firmly constructed case bound in truth that would shatter the reign of manipulation. But beneath the rising tension, there was an anchor. He suddenly understood that bringing Jake into this world he had feared so much illuminated the path that lay ahead. With each interaction, Ben not only reclaimed his father's legacy, but also reshaped what it meant to be a man before his son. In that shared space, Ben fortified his identity, intertwined with Jake's burgeoning understanding of integrity, a testament to transformation that neither of them could have anticipated. They were no longer navigating shadows, both far and personal. They were constructing a new legacy, one built on openness and resilience. As Rex readied another armament of vitriol, Ben knew he would meet it head-on. With Jake beside him, they broke through the noise and chaos like a dawning sun, affirming their determination to pave a future where honesty triumphed over deceit. The battle had just begun, yet it echoed the resolute choice to own their narrative and confront the past united. As the door of their legacy swung wide open, Ben felt an exhilarating pulse race through him. He had achieved something monumental, confronting an adversary, unveiling truths, and solidifying the bond with his son. The weight he had once carried transformed into wings. Today, he would not just reclaim his legacy, he would redefine it. And in the embrace of their intertwined destinies, Ben and Jake stepped boldly into the light. And in that moment, he realized the real victory wasn't about defeating Rex. It was the realization of who he had become through the journey, a father whose courage and honesty would guide them forward into a brighter future. This is the moment where we invite you to reflect on your own narrative. Join us, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because true fans of personal overcoming stories need to support the journey. Comment your reactions and theories about this conclusion. You're part of this narrative. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see and feel the power of personal transformation. This is the moment where we invite you to reflect on your own narrative. Join us, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because true fans of personal overcoming stories need to support the journey. Comment your reactions and theories about this conclusion. You're part of this narrative, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see and feel the power of personal transformation.